Okay, hopefully that's worked. Hello, welcome to November's Total Bollix Live. Hopefully I've set everything up correctly. It's been a while. I think I hosted February's and I've done nothing since on YouTube. So I'm hoping I've configured it right. But yeah, we've got the lovely Hannah, Celine and Abby with us today. And we're going to talk about all of our found family books that we've read this month, hopefully. I know many of us have not really been reading. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm doing introductions, but we probably all know each other by now. It's been almost a year.
Almost.
So I guess who wants to go first, or shall I?
I can go first. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Wrong.
Because then it means that I can sit back and I can enjoy you guys talking about books and try not to fall asleep.
Mhm.
So this is not a book that I read this month, but it is a book that I have heard so few people talk about that I kind of wanted to throw it in there because it does fit the trope. So, The Life and Medieval Times of Kit Sweetly by Jamie Paxton is about a young girl who works at a medieval themed like restaurant. You know, those ones like in America where they have like the big jousts and things like that. And she's a wench because in this restaurant, that's what women are allowed to be. They're allowed to be wenches and like one other job, but it's very similar to being a wench. Whereas the guys are allowed to be knights and things like that and get to joust and duel and what have you. Now she has been training with her brother because she wants to be a knight, but her uncle is basically the duty manager and he refuses to mess with the status quo for a niece and nephew that he's not that fond of. That light went out because Lizzie went in the bathroom. The fuse is blind. This will come back on in a sec. But anyway, basically, her brother is really ill and can't do a show. There it is. So she takes this opportunity to step into her brother's shoes, literally. Dresses up as the knight, jousts, does a great job, like knows all the moves, knows how to win and how to lose and when and stuff, all the choreography, and reveals herself as the Lady Knight. And whilst corporate are loving the free advertising, they refuse to endorse women as knights. Like they don't want it. So her and a bunch of other people that she works with throughout the book start to try and build up their skills so they can do a big performance that will then be filmed. There's like stuff about like social media in there. There's also like two other subplots, which is basically that her like dad left when they were kids and has like a new family. So there's like contemporary drama in there. I will say, if you come to this looking for a romance between her and her best friend, it is the most bookended thing ever, in the fact that at the start she's like, I have a crush on him, but he doesn't like me like that. And then at the end, it's a romance, and it's like, oh, that came out of nowhere. But it still has like those romantic elements to it. They're just not really present very often. But the reason I've picked this for found family is because the way everyone like comes together at this restaurant and works together feels like a found family. And I think often in books we see found family in like high fantasy where it's really trying times, or like contemporaries where they're really trying times, or like in situations where it's really trying and everyone has to work together and stuff like this. But rarely is it found family through work, or like the kind of colleagues that become so much more important than that. So I really like that that's what this is. I really like that it is set in a establishment and that they have to work together, and that they want to. They all like, there are moments obviously where like the conflict builds and they don't support each other as much as with any family. And as with any family, there are dickheads. So that's like, it has like a decent amount of conflict in it. But yeah, it just generally has quite a nice, easy read vibe. It's a very, very gentle read. So I've bitten my tongue and I keep catching it and it really hurts. So that's why I sound like I've got like a bit of a lisp. But yeah, I really liked it. It's a YA. It's an easy read. Would recommend. Any questions?
I just know I want to read it. I know that much. Like, I'm feeling that vibe.
It sounds really
Should
good.
I add it?
It might be too gentle for you. It doesn't really like. It's good in the fact that it's. If you want to be able to recommend books that are anti-patriarchy, but for much younger readers, yes. But I feel like you'd be reading this not because you like it, but because you can then recommend it on. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And I don't have many opportunities to recommend books to younger people anyway.
Yeah, so my thought is if you were going to read it, I'd recommend you get a library book version or like an audio version as opposed to buying a copy. Whereas Hannah, and I mean, even to a certain extent, you, Celine, I think you might get something out of this. But Hannah, especially, I feel like this is right up your street with the fact that it's a gentle contemporary with these like really important themes that aren't like, they're not subtle. Like, it's not subtle about how it does the story, but then you're not beaten over the head with it either.
Yeah.
It's a case of this is important to her. What she's doing is very feminist, but she's not doing it because she's a feminist. She's doing it because it's the right thing to do, which is like a good take. But there's interesting rep in it. It's got loads of BIPOC characters. The romance is not LGBT though. Even though for some reason I went into this thinking it was, and then it wasn't. But yeah, it was cute. It was cute. I think I would recommend it more for those that are looking for a more gentle contemporary read.
Which has definitely been my vibe lately.
And it's definitely not my vibe.
My brain can't handle anything else at the moment.
That's fair.
Well, I think that's the shortest I've ever described a book, but that's because there's not a lot going on. Like, it is very straightforward.
Yeah, like if you say too much, it's going to be literally the book.
Say that again, sorry?
I said if it's like if you say a bit more, like it's literally going to be just the book.
Yeah. If I tell you the rest of it, it's just the story. Like, I'm just gonna like there's parties and like lifestyle stuff in this, but like any more than that, I'm just telling you the story.
Yeah. Yep. Also, I just remembered how I show comments. So hi, Pixie. Again, I don't know what I'm doing. But nice to have you here. I don't do a lot on YouTube, so to be honest, I expect no one to be.
Oh, I think I'm bored, so.
Thank you very much.
Well,
yeah, no, I think I definitely want to pick that up. Like, it sounds similar to what I've read. So.
It sounds like it would be like it would really fit with what you wanted to read right now.
I mean, leading on from that, shall I go next? Means that I've got a very similar book.
I also have a similar book, so we can go like,
Yeah, and then Abby's coming with the actual found family.
Not really, no. Mine's the closest I'll ever get to this vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the closest I'm going to get.
So we're all feeling it this month. I picked up the Pumpkin Spice Cafe.
I heard so much about this book.
Laurie Gilmore. I had just seen it around. I've kind of been absent from literally everything, so I have not heard about it. But yeah, I picked it up because it was 2 days ago and I still hadn't picked anything up. That's basically the reason. It's short, and it says literally in the blurb, it's got found family in it. I was like, fill the brief. But yeah, it gives me like loads of Gilmore Girls vibes. It's like small town. It even says in the about the author, if you like Gilmore Girls, you'll like her books. It's got literally no rep in it. That is something I will call out. Like, it is Gilmore Girls. But it was just a good time. Like, it was just nice. There was like a little bit of mystery to it, which was like kept me intrigued more, I guess. And it is a bit spicy, I guess. So yeah, it was nice and gentle. Didn't do anything intellectually, which is exactly what I need right now. So it was just, chill, Gilmore Girls, autumn vibes, everything that I kind of want at the moment. I'm trying to think what to say because it's a short book. Like, it's like Hannah was saying, like if you say too much, it's basically the book. But the found family is, I guess, the town. It's like a small town. they're all really protective of each other. They have the town meetings that they go to, and she's just moved over to take over her aunt's cafe. And she's looking for like a new sort of lease of life, I guess. And so you see her like build up her community around her over the course of the book, which was just sweet to see. Like I wish I could get that vibe, but I'm also a recluse, so I will never get that.
Yeah, for that.
Yeah. We're gonna put it down because it's basically just shining. But yeah, it was I gave it 5 stars, even though like I am a bit annoyed that there wasn't much rep in it. Well, I say much, any of any kind that I can remember. But just because the vibes were exactly what I want right now. But yeah, it's not good in that regard. And they've got a smutty book club.
Nice.
With the town gossip. And I love them.
Love that.
But yes.
Hiding a yawn was just...
Yeah, I was trying to be subtle about it.
You're absolutely not subtle, but you're
It
trying.
was better than being like,
Yeah, for sure.
no, it wasn't better than that.
We appreciate how it hurts.
We wouldn't have noticed.
Fair. I wouldn't notice. I was just okay. I don't know why you're coming for behaviour when I'm trying to be polite, you know?
But yeah, I know I've probably done a really bad job of explaining it. But any questions? Probably not.
So other than Gilmore Girls, is it like are there other books that it's comparable to? It sounds very similar in vibe to like Chocolat and oh, what's the other bookshop one that I was about to say what's the other bookshop one that came out recently, which I think just goes to show how tired I am because I feel like there's been thousands. But that like Paris bookseller one.
I've not read them.
Oh,
so I don't know.
Fair enough.
I think it's going to give me sort of an American version of Kathy Bramley's books, which no one has probably read, but I've read, which is like an English little village where she's got like a few stories all intertwined in that village. So you see all the old characters as well. And it's always someone pairing up sort of thing. They're always a romance. But they're quite a good time as well, to be fair. But I'm not sure which ones are found family. So I was like, I'll find something that is found family. Otherwise, I probably would have read one of them. So I'd probably compare it to that, but just in America opposed to the UK. Besides that, I'm not sure because I haven't read much like this. It's only recently that I've been like, give me all of the mushy sort of books that don't take a lot of thought to like understand. It's not like fantasy where you've got all the lore and world building you've got to get your head around and like remember to make sense of anything. I just can't handle that right now. My brain is done. Like, yeah. So, not sure. Any other questions?
That's no. I've got nothing else.
That's
this
fine.
is the world's shortest live stream.
It might be. It might be.
I'm not going to have much to say about mine either, for once.
Right. Why? Okay. Let's take a detour then before Celine goes into a book similar to the ones we've already done. What is it about found family that there's just not a lot to say about the books that it's in? Like, what is it like?
No, but like
I don't think it's that. I think it's because we have all tried to read a book this month about found family. That's what we were attempting to do. And so then with all of us pretty much slumping and me coming out of a slump, but trying to read only nonfiction this month, we've picked short books to squeeze it in. Like I can think of, I mean, the books that I go on about all the time, the Pelennor series, literally the main character is an orphan. There is found family in that series. And so, like, there's plenty of big books that I could think about and I could take off of these shelves that I could talk for ages about the book itself and then the found family aspect separately. But for me, at least, I just have to fit in a book. And I'm reading, I don't have it up here, but you guys have seen the size of the non-fiction book I am reading. So I just squeezed in a small one. And I think, obviously, Hannah was slumping.
I had already DNF'd 2 books because I was not vibing, and one I was definitely throwing out a window. So, yeah. I didn't intentionally leave it till last second. I just struggled.
Fair. I only started mine on Friday night. So I did intentionally leave it to the last second, but without spoiling what the book is, it's that thin, so it's fine.
I know what the book is.
Yeah.
Instantly.
But not everyone will. It wasn't too much of a spoiler. Also, you were on Goodreads, so you may have seen it on there, because I knew what your book was from Goodreads.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it on Goodreads, that's recognizable. Like, literally, I've done nothing. I rated it via Amazon because I read it on my Kindle. Like, I haven't even gone on Goodreads myself.
That's fair.
What, for yours?
Yeah,
you did.
I replied to your comment, but that was just through the notification. Like, I've not scrolled through, looked at the homepage. That's literally the only thing I've looked at.
I was gonna say, you putting it on Amazon means it's on Goodreads as well, because that's what I was.
Yeah. So I did it through Amazon, so I've not had a look at what's on Goodreads. My brain's not working.
Fair. Also, we recommend Storygraph. I think all of us use both.
I try to use both, and then I forget.
I tried twice to use both, and I always go back to Goodreads just because I'm used to it, I guess.
I use both. I've never tried Storygraph, so I don't know why. I use it for other people when they need recommendations. Like, I'll go through it. I just find the interface of Goodreads was something that I got used to quite quickly. Like, it's not a great interface, but
it's easy to navigate.
it does what I need it to do. So
I will say it is quite easy to migrate over. If you, it's a bit awkward to find it because I don't think Goodreads wants you to, but you can download basically a CSV file of everything you've got on Goodreads, and you could just upload it to Storygraph, and it takes some time, but then you can go into Storygraph and everything's there. All your folders are set up, all of your tags are set up, everything is there, it's ready for you just to go. But I also get it because I use both in tandem, and I use them both slightly differently, which is really annoying because it means that I have to go in and update both of them every time I read.
But a lot of things are better on Storygraph. You also have all the trigger warnings that you don't have on Goodreads, right? Or I've never read them. So anytime I need content warnings and stuff like that, I do go on Storygraph for it, for sure.
I also love the graphs. That's the main reason why I use it, to be fair. I've done the export thing 10 times now because I keep letting it go out of date, and I'm like, I can't remember where I was up to. I'll just do it again.
Yeah.
That's fair. But the graphs are great. So I also fill out a spreadsheet. This is who I am. I have a bullet journal, Goodreads, Storygraph, and a spreadsheet, and I do all of them. And my spreadsheet is the one I keep least up to date. So I deeply enjoy the graphs that are on Storygraph.
I also have a spreadsheet, but to be fair, that's out of date at this point because I don't know what I've been doing with my life.
Mine's a little out of date, but only by a month. So I feel like it's not. That's catch-upable.
Mine's probably 2 months out of date, but I also did not read much, so it's not bad.
You had a lot going on, so it's okay.
Yeah. I hope that the export does work soon for you, Pixie, because it is nice to have the graphs, literally everything there. It was interesting to look. I can't remember what mine looked like, but it was definitely different to what I expected. It's oh, I read a lot of that, and I can't remember what it was though. It was a while. It's been it was probably last year's roundup that I last updated it, so it's been 11 months. I have to think what month we're at then.
Yeah.
I do I enjoy how it doesn't just show the main genre when it tells you what genres you're in. For me personally, I enjoy that because one, I track the main genre on my spreadsheet, but then two, a lot of the books that I read in my head, I'm like, that's science fiction, fantasy. They tend to be split, but sci-fi, fantasy, and not. And there isn't many genres that I read. And then you look at Storygraph, it's no, these science fiction, fantasy books that I'm reading actually have a lot of genres within them. And I'm reading more than I realize if I just track it in the normal way. A lot of sci-fis that are historical. I've read a surprising number of them, and so I do really enjoy kind of being able to have that mix and intertwine. And the vibes are an interesting one. There's one, I don't know what it's officially called, but there's one where it gives you a pie chart of just the vibes of your books. And I do enjoy that one because it's never what I expect it to be.
I'm just terrible at putting genres on books. I can never figure out what the genre is meant to be. I have to Google it every time.
Yeah, it just does it itself. I can input if I think it's got a certain genre, but I just let it do its thing. It's great.
I can mostly go for like the main one, but anything subgenre, no.
Unless it's like in your face.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I am the same.
Shall we go to the next person? I thought the kittens. I'm in the room with the kittens right now because I've got 2 new cats, which is exciting and tiring. I'm not gonna lie, and they're only allowed in one room at the moment. But I think they're still snoozing. So
they're so cute.
How dare they?
I know, but they're going to be a nightmare when they wake up because it will be Zoomy time.
Yeah.
When we first got our kittens years ago, this was like 2 decades ago now. They used to we kept them in the kitchen dining room, and the chairs in the dining room were the sort that like the 4 legs are there, and then you've got the 2 bars and the one across the middle. They were like hurdling. That was their Zoomies, was doing hurdles around the dining table, which was great. So if you've got any chairs that happen to have bars, get them in there because they'll love it.
I wish I did. Instead, apparently mine are too close to a scratching post, and the one loves to try and scratch it up. So that's fun. It's fine. I put a scratching post there now, and hopefully you'll use that. But I don't know.
Just keep an eye on them and just no.
Yeah. Yeah. We've mostly been doing that, but half the time he flies under the radar, despite being the noisiest cat I've ever met. He does have a cold, so I'm wondering if that's why. He just snuffles. You know where he is. He just makes noise.
Bless him.
The other one is a ninja. Like, she is like pure silent. Yes. Who wants to go next? Was it you, Celine?
Yeah. I think next. I decided to go with The House Witch, which you read already. So if I mess up explaining the book, you can help me. I probably will.
I can try.
It is a cozy high fantasy, I would say, for the genre. We are following this man who's a cook. He is employed in a new kingdom castle, and he's also a witch, and he's just trying to hide that from everyone else because witches are not being really considered as beings or nice beings. So the whole witch hunting and everything. And so basically it's him in his kitchen trying to make the place really very homey and welcome. He wants his kitchen to be a place where everyone feels safe and can come and decompress. And yeah, so basically there's that. And everyone working with him in the kitchen is trying to make him feel at home. And so basically the book is about that. There's much more than this, but the found family aspect is about that. It's about him wanting everyone in his kitchen to feel really welcome and homey, and everyone else working with him trying to make him feel this way about other people. So yeah, it's really cute. It was a bit longer than I thought it would be. I thought it would be like a 300 something pages long book. No, it was almost 600 pages for some reason. Yeah, it was over 500, and I was like, when this did end? It never ends. And there's the second.
I remember the chapters being short, weren't they? You got through it fast. Or am I misremembering?
Yeah, we have 40 something chapters, so I'm guessing they're short. There's a lot of them, and it's a trilogy. And I do want to pick up the next one actually.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of end on a cliffhanger, and I'm like, how dare you? Yep. I need it to rest. So.
600 pages and you do this.
Yeah, but it's really good. We have, I don't know if you can see, but there's also a little kitten here. Mm-hmm. There's a cat, he's familiar, that we have from the very beginning almost. So yeah, it's just a cozy, fantasy mystery book, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. And you get a cat's point of view as well. Like you get to see anything familiar.
We do have a few chapters from the cat's point of view, which is really cute. And so we talked. I asked you if I wasn't sure if you read that or not. So you told me that the writing wasn't exceptional, and I do agree with that. I think I ended up giving it a 3.5 stars just because the writing wasn't that spectacular, and some scenes are not necessary. I feel like it's really long for what it is, and some things we could go without, I guess. But yeah, still cute, still really cute, and I still do want to continue with the trilogy.
It is very cute, and like I do love the family and that like comes together. Like it's like a proper little unit.
Yeah, absolutely, it's so damn cute.
As I've read it, I don't really have any questions.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions?
Oh,
I am distracted by the cat. Unfortunately, the cat has stolen Celine's limelight.
That is absolutely fair.
He does that. I thought I'll extend the video just a little bit longer by sorting out. The thing that upset him was that he then couldn't come back into my room. So I then went to open my door. He then ran away. So I then came back into my room. He then came into my room and couldn't get out of my room. And I thought, you're winding me up now. Just lie down.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds about right.
So we were having a bit of a game, and now he's on a cushion and just kind of playing with me here instead.
Well, I have got a question for Celine, which is obviously you were expecting the book to be like 300 pages.
Yeah.
And the book ended up being like between 500 and 600.
Yeah.
And you kept, like you said, oh, are you going to finish? But then you said you want to read the sequel.
Yeah.
So in other words, is it still worth reading even though it's like 300 pages more than you thought it was going to be?
To me, it is. It depends what you like, what you enjoy, but it's really cozy. Like, that's the thing. It really is cozy. You don't have to have much of a brain to read that. It goes fast, and it's the vibes. The vibes are really, really perfect.
I might keep it in mind then for the next time I start slumping, because I could do with some books that don't need too much brain.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. Just the vibes, the coziness of it all. It's perfect for that.
Mm-hmm. I'm also skeptical if it is really that long, because it was quite a quick read. To put it as Abby has in the past, like it didn't take too long.
No, it's not like it's a short. It's still like quick to read.
Yeah,
yeah. I think
what's the book called?
Maybe it wasn't like 500 overdoing it. Let me check.
The House Switch.
Like that is what it says on like Goodreads for how long the book is. But like I'm skeptical. I'm like, is it really? But yeah, I wonder if there's just lots of gaps in like a physical version.
Wait, I have it in front of me. I'm gonna check.
Yeah.
Maybe like slightly less than 500. Maybe I'm overdoing it.
But still, you probably expected it to be like this one.
Yeah.
I expected it to be shorter than it was.
Like a little bitty book.
I do feel like we can go without some.
Yeah, Goodreads says 658 pages.
It's not that long. It's not that long. But
if it's got short chapters, then it won't feel that long. At least for me, like anything with short chapters, I fly through.
55 chapters. We have 55 chapters. First of all,
so 658 divided by 55.
There's not. We don't have 500 pages. We have 4 something.
If it was the 658 one, then that's the Kindle edition for the Goodreads information. Then that would be about 12 pages per chapter.
Mm-hmm. 462.
Or
I'm overdoing it. Sorry.
I'm wondering if there's like blank pages in an edition, and then they're like, oh, it's like 600 pages.
But yeah, so like I
think they went
under 20 pages.
They might have gone with 6 something because there's the 3 or 4 first chapters of the second one in it as well.
There is, yeah.
That'll be what it is.
Maybe for that.
I also want to read the second one, but who knows with my reading record on series.
Yeah.
I might get to it in the next 5 years. We'll see.
But when I think about fan fiction, the first thing I have in mind is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet.
Wait, no.
This is my go-to.
1 second.
Tell me, I want to say the Small Angry Long way to smelling repellent. I can do it. So
I'm sorry, I'm listening to you, Celine, but I could just see Hannah like cat controlling, and it's great.
He ran away. But he's still meowing.
Oh my god, so cute.
Hi.
Little kitten.
I was recording Horatio suckling on my finger. That's how I'm used to story as well.
So cute.
I'm excited for the story.
Baby.
Look at it. It's so cute. Hello, darling.
So damn cute.
You probably won't see the other one because she's still a bit nervous of us, but you can do anything to him. He's fine.
He's a ginger Tom. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. He's very stupid as well. Like, he is living up to the ginger stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
They do. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
Anna, have you got any questions for Celine?
I don't. I think I'm put off by the page number for like what's going on in it. I guess I will just repeat the question I have for Hannah, which is, are there any books that are comparable that are maybe slightly shorter?
Not quite, but it does have. I'm fine. I'm sorry. It does have the same vibes. Almost like it has the same vibes as Can Spell Treason Without Tea and Legends and Lattes. You know, like those kind of cozy.
Okay, yeah. Oh, well, we'll make it. Okay, maybe then. Maybe I will pick it up.
So it does have those vibes. And I read it's not Found Family though. Is it not quite? But I read the sequel, the prequel.
Legends of Bookshops and Bone Dust.
I have no memory, Jesus. But yeah, it was cute as well.
It was. I also read that.
Kind of like is Found Family. I feel like everything with like friends, a group of friends, like people starting to get friends, and you know, like you can say Found Family. It's fine, sure.
So what was the Found Family in this one? Like, what was the dynamic of it? Because obviously for Hannah's one, it was the people who worked
definitely. I think
I don't know if it's a cafe. To be fair, it's more just the town.
What?
Sorry, I was clarifying, Abby. Sorry.
It goes in both ways. The cook, the witch, trying to make his kitchen feel like a safe place for everyone, like a homey place for everyone. Because technically speaking, he's a house witch, and his role is to make people feel, what's the term, like cozy, like good in the space he's in.
Or like comforted.
Yeah, kind of. And it's also the aspect of everyone working with him, the whole staff working with him, trying to make him feel as if he belongs there, because he doesn't feel so. Yeah.
So cute.
I'm being viciously mauled.
Cute.
That's so cute.
Don't teach your kittens this, Hannah. It hurts.
Okay, I'll try not to.
It is quite painful. My dad used to get the cats to do it to him. I don't know how he managed it, but he managed to get the cats to only do stuff like this with him. Like,
yeah,
so
Horatio only does this with me. Mozart only does this with me, and they also only do it when I'm wearing a hoodie. So, like, if I'm wearing a short sleeve, he'll stop. If I were to roll my sleeves up, he might nibble to begin with, but he won't commit to it. It's because it's the sleeve. So if I do this, that's when he goes more feral.
But yes, if no one else has questions for Celine, whilst we observe the cat destroy Hannah's hoodie, I will talk about my one. Which is Before We Say Goodbye by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, which is the 4th book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. So obviously, I don't want to spoil this one. I feel like that name, if you know and if you've read Before the Coffee Gets Cold, is indicative of the kind of stories that are in here. But for the first one, basically, it is set in a small cafe in Tokyo. There's 2 cafes. I think one is in Osaka, and the other one is in Tokyo. But the first book is set in Tokyo in this little cafe, and if you sit in a certain seat, which is only available at certain times, and you drink a cup of coffee, you can go back in time. But like, there's really strict rules around this going back in time, so you can't use it to change the future. You can't leave the cafe. You can't leave the seat. So you can only go back to see people that have been in the cafe already.
Yeah.
And the found family side of this is very much a combination of the staff who are working at the cafe, some of who are family. It's actually a familial thing as to who can pour the coffee to trigger the time travel. But then also certain people who come in and do end up time traveling for one reason or another. Some of them then become, like repeat customers. Just you can only go back in time once, but just they go back to the cafe and they end up kind of becoming part of the furniture in the cafe. And so it's very much a found family in that sense, in that they know each other really well and really deeply, because the people who are going back are often doing so for such like traumatic reasons. Yeah. Whether it's like something like deeply traumatic, like an event that's happened, or whether it's like an emotionally traumatic thing where they've fallen out with a loved one and are trying to resolve it and things like that. So just the fact that they're immediately having to kind of bear all and say these things that are happening kind of instigates that like close bonding. Yeah. And it's absolutely beautiful. It makes me cry every single time, every single book in this series. The only book out of these 4 that I have not actually cried at is the first one.
And I cried. Oh, Jesus, I cried for the first one already.
Oh, no, it's not because it doesn't make me cry. It's because I was sat next to my dad in the living room. And if you don't know me, my dad's ex-military. He's just going to laugh at me. I was not in the mood to be laughed at. I wanted to cry. So I just kept it in. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, sure, laugh away, Kevin. But I was too distraught that I was like, I don't need this right now. I'm just there blinking as he's watching, I don't know, SAS Begins or something, trying not to cry. So that's the only one that I've not actually had tears falling from my eyes, is the one where I was next to my dad. It's an absolutely beautiful series. I love it so much. I am just every single time it goes through obviously translation, and every single time the next book comes out in Japanese, and they're like, come on, when's the next one? When's it? Joffrey, translate it. Because it's Joffrey Trizulu who translates them all into English. And so every single time I'm just like, come on, Joffrey, hurry up. Translate it faster. And I think sometimes they come out in French.
Do they?
Else. The French translator is on it. Like,
wait. I need to check that right away. Please go on. I'm just gonna check that.
Celine's like, I love reading it in French, but if I can get it, I love reading it in English, but if I can get it earlier, maybe in French.
No, like in French, I hate it. Like with a passion.
I will never understand you hating to read in your native language. Like, I'm trying to read in Swedish, okay? I've read one book in Swedish, and whilst it was enjoyable for the accomplishment sense of it, because I don't speak no Swedish, it was not fun. It was stressful.
I do understand English pretty well, so at this point, it's not like I'm trying to read in Russian, you know? But I don't know. Well, I guess it's not the same for you guys, but I've had this discussion with people from other countries, like with other languages, first language, native languages, and it's cringy. Like, it's just really cringy. The translations, ugh. I hate.
But then translations. You'll even just avoid straight out reading any books that are in French. Like, I have a book on my TBR that's translated into English from French.
Yes and no. I know that I have some French authors, like Madame Bovary. How do you pronounce that in English, actually? It's like Les Misérables. Like Les Mis, whatever. Hannah, do you want to try it?
Like, I feel like it's just both
ways. Nation. Just go for the most insulting pronunciation you can, and that is how we would say it.
I don't think, to be fair, I don't think Bovary is too bad, because I feel like it's not a million miles away.
Yes, but Madame Bovary and Madame Bovary are two very different things.
So like those I have in French, I will read in, well, not Les Miserables, but like Madame Bovary, I do, and I would read in French because it's a French author, and so like yes, of course, but otherwise no, English, all the way, all the time.
Well, yes, I think these get translated. It's either French or potentially Italian, but I think it's French that it gets translated into first. Like it gets translated into. So I know far too much about these books. They get translated into every goddamn language under the sun. But I think that at least in Western languages, because I don't like, I cannot read French, but I could read more French than I could read Korean, for example. So that's the only ones I paid attention to, because then I was jealous. I was like, let me read it. But yeah, the series is absolutely beautiful. I may or may not have just done a sneaky little order. I have gift vouchers on Amazon, and I may or may not have just finally used some for the first time. I got these in 2019 to buy another copy for the hardback of Before the Coffee Gets Cold, because bless my other half, he got me this wanting me to be able to have it and read it. He got me this for Christmas, and then realized that I had all of them in paperback.
Yeah.
Like you have just given. Also, they are re-releasing the hardbacks, and this is like it's still pretty, but it's just
the hardbacks are gorgeous. I saw them for the first one Before the Coffee Gets Cold. Like it has, like it's just as gorgeous.
So that's the re-release. They're re-releasing it with new end papers that are like really pretty and like really beautiful designs. So I have purchased, and I'm waiting for the re-releases for all of them apart from this one because it's signed, so it's fine. Like it's not sprayed edges; it doesn't look different. Like this, and so yeah, I'm gonna rebuy the first three and then also buy this in paperback, and if more come out, I'm gonna buy them in both. So that's how much I like this series. This is the closest that I tend to get to cozy mystery. It's not even a mystery, I guess. At the beginning it kind of is, because it's like the mystery of how are you time traveling.
It is really cozy. It's a sad cozy, but it's really cozy.
Yeah, definitely sad cozy, like 100%. This is not the sort of cozy where you're like, oh, what a great time. This is a
great time.
Like the books are all split up into short stories, essentially.
Yeah.
But they take place with the same core characters who run the cafe and or are the ones that kind of come back and become regulars. But they're short stories about each person's individual trip back in time. And so at the end, there tends to be around 4 in each book. And at the end of each short story, I'll stop for a second because I've just finished it. And every time Chris looks over at me and he's like, one has finished. And I'm just crying.
Yeah.
Every single one, I'm just crying. And then he came in, I'd finished, I think it was the 3rd one in this, and he was like, is that the last one? I was like, no! No!
There's some more crying.
So yeah, like it will make you cry, but also it's just beautiful. Like I do also have to give props to Geoffrey Truzelu for his translation of this, because obviously I will never be able to speak personally on the original writing in Japanese. I've been trying to learn Japanese because Chris wants to go there on holiday, and dear God, I'm going to struggle. And so yeah, I'll never read it in the original language, but the translation is utterly beautiful. And I'm assuming obviously he's pulled that from Koguchi himself, but I have to give props to the translator because it's done stunning.
Mm-hmm. Which has been your favourite one?
Oh God.
I've only read the first one, so like which one?
I only read the first one. I'm supposed to continue next month with the second and the rest. Also, I don't know about you guys, but it took me a hot minute to get into the writing style. I don't know if it was because of the author or the translation.
Well, it was originally a play, and that came across for me, and I struggled with that.
Yeah. You can, same.
I feel like
at the end of the second story, I was bawling my eyes out. So that's fine. I love the book.
As the books go on, they still could quite easily be adapted for either a play or the screen, either one. However, they definitely don't feel as dedicated for the stage. So part of me wants to say that this is the best one. But then, like, in terms of, like, they're basically all equal. Like, because this is, it's the one that introduces you to this world, and it's the one that has like a big impact when it's the first time that you kind of, not this world, because obviously it's set in our world, but it kind of introduces you to this concept. Yeah. And it's done really well, and it is a really unique style because it's translated from Japanese, which lots of translated Japanese books have got that kind of same feel to them, which I love. But it's also very cozy and beautifully written. But then, as the books go on, kind of the play-like aspect never completely goes, but it definitely diminishes, and it's a book first.
I need Studio Ghibli to own the rights for like the movies. I would cry. I will just keep on crying until the end of time, probably.
So I don't think.
Yeah.
Hi. I don't think that I actually have like a legitimate favorite. I would, if like pressed, I would probably say the first one, just because like nostalgia.
Look at those pines. Come on.
They're gorgeous. So yeah, I don't think I have an actual favorite. I think I just love them all, but there are differences. And obviously, like by the time you get to here, I do remember, I think it was this one where I was thrown for a bit, because this is the one where they then, if I'm remembering correctly, go to 2 different cafes. So there's the one in Tokyo and the one that I think is in Osaka. So that threw me for a bit, because it's like all new characters, all new names, and I'm like, I thought we were in, what happened to everyone? Are they dead? And it's like, no, it's just in a different cafe. And they do then link them. So then by this one, obviously you know everyone in both cafes. And so you kind of have that more investment in the people, in the environment. There's a backstory to, how do I say it without spoiling things? There's a backstory to the time travel and an individual. There's a ghost in the time travel situation, and there's a backstory to the ghost.
Oh, that's
and so you get more of that as you go on.
Okay, that's really nice.
And I'm pretty sure there's going to be another book, and I think that the next book might explain the current ghost that is in here, because it's linked to the cafe and the people, like that found family that are there. So there is kind of like a little universe going on, and that does kind of make it really enjoyable to move through it and to see those characters again and see how they've kind of, because a lot of it is like overcoming your own personal pain, and so then seeing them thrive. And like they come in and they're like, oh, I'm only here for 10 minutes. I'm off out to go do this. And you've seen them go through this trauma.
It's just like all the stories are so sad. Just they're so excruciating sad.
Death, there's loss, there's so much. It's always sad, but it's beautiful.
I really need to get to them. Like when the first one came out, I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I wasn't reading novellas anyway, and I also certainly was avoiding sad books. Do you guys remember when that book came out and I was like, I'm not reading sad books at the moment, life's too short? And then since then I've picked up every sad book I can find. So I think I'm gonna wait until the 5th one's out and then kind of work my way through them like over a year maybe.
Don't binge them.
No. I have no intention of binging them, but more just have them all to go, because I feel like I from what you said, and because we've had them recommended on here before, there's nothing in them that I'm going to be like mortally offended by, and therefore I don't think I'm going to have issue with like the writing or anything like that, so I might as well continue with them. I just don't want to get them now and affect my TBR challenge.
That's fair. Get them in January.
Yeah, January 1st.
Yeah.
I don't think, in terms of like representation, I think there's one story that is LGBTQ+. And I think that's it. And also I think that every single character is Japanese. So in terms of diversity, for us as white people, it's diverse compared to our own lived experience, but the actual books are diverse, which I always struggle with, like on Storygraph, to like intertwine these two. And it's like, oh, the character's diverse, and I'm like, they're not the same race, ethnicity, like gender identity, sexuality as me, but they're all the same one. So is that a yes or a no?
I would say, in which case then I would say that it's not diverse, it's own voices.
Yeah, so like for this I say no for it being diverse, because every single person in it, as far as I know, is Japanese.
Yeah.
I think there's one where a character goes to America, and she's not like the main focus, but she's in the US, and so I think she sends a couple of people back. So I think there may be one white person in here somewhere. But yeah, they're all Japanese.
I will say the one thing that's put me off as well is the fact that it's time travel. And that's just not my favorite.
I mean,
the time travel aspects are really small, really small.
Yeah, it's not like time travel. They're trying to change like a whole lifetime or like or like big events. It's like it's time travel closure.
So the whole thing is that when you go back, you can only go back within this one seat in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
You can go back one time ever. You have until the coffee gets cold, and you have to drink it up, otherwise you get dire consequences.
Yeah.
And it won't change anything. So say, for example, you were in the cafe and your partner proposes to you, and at the time you say yes or no, and you want to change that and have the opposite happen. And so you go and travel back and you say the opposite. Regardless of what you do, things in like the world as it progresses on will develop in some way that you get back to exactly where you were before. So if you didn't say yes and then you say yes to them, you will never end up married because you said no. You can't change the future. You cannot change the present day from what has happened there. It's purely so that essentially people can talk to each other in that kind of...
Just thinking about it again, I'm like...
It's how you get the short stories, isn't it? Like it's more like just a glimpse into a story.
So
a little vignette.
For each story, you kind of get them turning up to the cafe and being like, can you really travel back in time? And like them like learning about the cafe, and then you find out why they want to go back in time.
Yeah.
And that is the first just over half of the short story. And then you'll get about a quarter where they go back in time. And again, like they can't even get up from the chair. This is not like time travel shenanigans.
No,
it's literally just kind of being able to go back and talk to someone. It's like, imagine like those midnight chats when you had a sleepover.
It sounds more like the magic of it sounds more like Show Me Who You Are by Elle McNichols, where admittedly in that one it's AI, but they're talking to, you can talk to people that you've lost because they've basically been programmed into this thing. But then you're able to have these conversations with someone that you've lost. It sounds kind of like that. Other than that, completely fucking different. But it is like fundamentally like just the idea that it's the poignancy of closure rather than like big old because
them talking to the AI,
etc.
Them talking to the AI doesn't change anything. No one doesn't die who did die originally. Like no one doesn't leave who leaves originally. All of that, but it just changes how the individual kind of gets that closure and sees the events that have happened and like kind of has that aspect to them. And then the last quarter of the short story is them kind of, they're back in the cafe, back in real time, and they're kind of processing the trauma both by themselves and with the cafe staff. And so like the time travel, whilst it is a key aspect of the book, I wouldn't say is the major aspect, because I know a lot of people have troubles with time travel. I'm not one of them. I love a good time travel scenario, like massively. So I totally get why some people don't like it, but this one I think is very much more accessible time travel to everyone, because with the strict rules that the cafe has, it means as well that there's less room for, the whole thing of like they always have to come up with some sort of paradox of how the time travel works because it doesn't make sense. The rules are so strict that it doesn't need that. Like the rules negate all of that. You don't need the paradox. Like it just is what it is, because you can't change anything. The only thing you can change is in people's minds. And so
and it's a lot about people's backgrounds and their stories, and also like as you said, the staff just being so homey and like just so damn nice to everybody and trying to help them process what happened to them and how to move on. And so good.
Yeah, so
some of the staff's backstory as well, don't you? If I remember right.
Absolutely.
Yes. At least one member of staff travels back themselves in time.
In the first, at least.
I think then it must be at least two, because I think there's another one later on. luckily for me, I don't retain in-depth information. I can tell you all about the stories, but it means that I get to go reread them and enjoy the trauma yet again. I'm excited.
We need a buddy read then.
Yeah,
100%. Count me in.
Like, and let's all cry together.
You know? Yeah, I love a group cry.
Bond over like a crying moment.
Maybe we do it as a read along.
Yeah, good idea.
We could do.
We should do that. Totally.
And we can host it on Hannah's channel so that she has content.
This is the only content I produce.
That's what I mean.
I intend to do things, and then I'm like, no brain power. I can't.
It's your vibes as well. This totally works. So we should see when the 5th one is coming out in English if it has a release date.
Let me have a look on Gardeners and see if it's got a.
See what's going on, and then we can see.
Is it already
out?
Is it already out?
I think in Japanese, the 5th one.
Which color is it? That's the only thing that interests me. Which color is it?
Well, it's not helpful because it's different for the Japanese versions versus the English versions.
No,
they're not the same color. I know.
Wait, let me check.
I love how we're all checking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one in Japanese, book 5, is out.
It's only coming out in September next year.
And in Japanese, if for some reason someone watching this happens to read Japanese, in which case, awesome. It came out in March this year, the green one.
Oh. I mean, it does make sense. We had this one not that long ago, so it does make sense.
Yeah.
But,
so maybe that's the last one, because I remember that when we were on book 3, there was 2 books ahead. So potentially this is the last one. Ooh.
So is that, before we forget kindness. That one.
Yeah, the names always translate differently anyway, because they make them, before we forget kindness doesn't flow very well in English.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't completely flow. So they do always change the titles for each country. Unless for some reason it's like in Germany where they tend to just have the English title. And then Ein Roman, and I'm like, okay, wonderful, a novel. Just put the title in German.
Yeah, which threw me when I was getting The Man and His Cat, where I accidentally got a German edition because it was in English for the title.
I don't it's not even like it's a difficult one. Like, it translates just fine. Like, Ein Mann und ein Katz.
Yeah.
Translate it.
I don't even know how I got a German copy.
German is a bit,
Apparently, it's being released in New Zealand on the 24th of September next year.
That's so soon. I'm so excited.
I don't know how different our rights will be. Yeah.
I think Australia and the UK and New Zealand tend to have.
It's supposed to be the 19th.
Not always. Sometimes it will come out earlier in Australia than it will in the UK, depending on where it's coming from. Because
I guess especially with it being.
Yeah, they pay less for the rights because they don't produce many books there. They import a lot of books, and they import a lot of them from the UK. And it's why a lot of UK authors used to be sent out to New Zealand and Australia first on their tours.
Okay.
Yeah. But I guess also
it was like a done deal that they would definitely get some pickup from there. So
with it being Japanese as well, like it's so close. I've just looked through, and Before the Coffee Gets Cold in German has been, I think this is the German version. If not, it's like one of the very close languages. Yeah, that's German. Has been translated, the title. It's not Before the Coffee Gets Cold. We're very proud of them. It's Bevor der Kaffee kalt wird, which means Before the Coffee Gets Cold. Do that with all the other titles.
The French title is different. Like it's instead of being Before the Coffee Gets Cold, it kind of means as long as the coffee is hot, something like that, or warm, or whatever. I'm like, it wasn't that complicated to keep the same. You have to go all the way to try to find something different.
Even the Italian one still keeps the same thing. finché caffè caldo before the coffee. Finché. That's something along the lines of keep the coffee hot. Interesting, because caldo in Italian is hot.
Yeah.
Which is great fun when you're an English learner and you're like, what do you mean caldo means hot?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I guess that makes sense for them to do that, because before the coffee gets cold, like they've used cold in caldo. So that makes sense. Like they've not just randomly decided to change it to like keeping the coffee hot, like
like the French.
Like the French, yeah. I won't say too much because I feel like English people insulting the French is not a good road to go down.
Yeah. It's just a bit overdone, isn't it?
I'll help you for sure. I don't mind.
There we go. The Italian one I had to check because I didn't know the first word. The first word is as long as. So it's as long as the coffee is hot is the Italian one.
Yeah, it's the same as the French.
Yeah. But then with caldo being hot in Italian, like that makes quite a bit of sense. Kind of keeping with the theme.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know how to say it. How do you say it? Should. Doesn't fit.
Language lessons with Abby.
I can teach you
I'm
all
going to have
about.
to go out soon because I am struggling to stay awake now.
No worries.
You don't want me to teach you about birds and Swedish?
Yeah,
You
that's
don't know
what
Swedish birds?
I saw that this one. It's really cute.
It's adorable. And I'm also very proud of myself. But there's no found family in it. It's literally a non-fiction about birds.
About birds.
Oh,
Going to ask that. What's the
spooky.
Yeah, so it's spooky, and Lizzie, who couldn't make it tonight, is hosting.
Wait. Hold on.
According to the spreadsheet, Lizzie.
Why did we decide to do spooky in December? I don't have a damn
Because we did something else spooky related in October. I think we did Gothic
Yeah,
fiction in
and
October.
you have ghost stories traditionally at Christmas.
You do.
Well, I do not.
Like the Christmas Carol, for example.
Mm-hmm. And A Woman in Black is him telling ghost stories.
Like, there's the Woman in Black, the Woman in White, I think is very similar. Oh no, it's Tell of the Screw, where they're like meeting over at Christmas and telling ghost stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very Victorian thing to tell ghost stories at Christmas.
Yes, which was a vibe we were all loving when we decided the list.
Yeah.
Celine
I'm
is
not a
loving
massive fan of like Victorian stories, but they like that's the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have spooky for December.
You have spooky stuff. Have you read Key in the Lock yet?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Evelyn Jones. I mean, to be fair, The Vanishing will be better because it's.
I did. I did in October of last year because it's a spooky book supposed to be in October.
I specifically kept one by because I checked the prompts.
Okay, well, you're intelligent. I am not.
So I just did a vote.
Wait, I have what if like thriller? Could that count? Like a thriller?
Yeah. A middle grade thriller. Anything that's got like a spooky vibe. Like it doesn't have to be like specifically ghosts. It's just spooky. And hey, guess what? I'm actually going to schedule our goddamn images this time.
So you mean that I won't waste time taking photos?
The graphics are made, right? Because I made them when you guys sent me the photos, and I uploaded that first, like found family for November, and then nothing.
I feel like I should do them all.
Never log back in.
Like
I'll
if
have to
you're
just
here for the
sit and lag
panto.
you. You have had the panto, but at the beginning I nagged you, and that helped.
November has been insanity from start to finish. The first week, that first weekend, like over the 3rd and 4th, was the only weekend I wasn't doing something. And like not just like, oh, I had plans, I was socializing. I mean, the second weekend, I had people reading my play and like giving me feedback. And then I went to Newcastle. And then I did a panto. And then I stayed up until 6 a.m. last night. Wouldn't recommend it. That is why I'm falling asleep at 8 o'clock in the evening now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
But to be fair, I blame Lizzie because it's them that ran away. So I had to go find them. For context, we were out last night because it was like last day of panto. Yesterday we had matinee and then the main one. And then we went for drinks afterwards to celebrate it being over, like an after party type thing.
It's
went to
fun.
I tell you what, it was actually very fun to be in. Like the panto itself very much came alive. Like when I read the script initially, I was like, this is not a good panto, but it definitely like came alive because of everyone in it. And like the last show, everyone was like really hamming up like their roles and stuff, which was really funny. And there's a bit where someone kicks their shoe off the side of the stage, and Zach shouted "ow" like as it like hit, as if it had hit someone, which was quite funny. But yeah, so we went to Zach's work first, stayed there until we were kicked out at 12:30. Then we went to Lizzie's work, where Lizzie got us into the VIP booth, stayed there until 3:30. Then I was like, I'm gonna go home now. And Zach was going to walk me home and then meet Lizzie and Sean, who we were out with, in a strip club that doesn't actually have any strippers, called Mirage. But at 4:30, like Zach and I were still chatting outside. At 4:30, I got a text from Lizzie saying, "Help, I don't know where I am." So we dumped, like, we still had like all of our shit from like doing the play. So we had like bags of like our shoes and like makeup and stuff. So we dumped everything, walked to meet Lizzie. Everyone is being ushered out. So it's clearly like closing. And people were saying that there was like a massive fight. So I was like, oh my God, is Lizzie okay? Lizzie is not answering their phone. For love nor money, is not answering their phone. And I'm like starting to panic. And I start talking to this woman who is like really like irate. Like she was clearly like after sympathy. But then when Zach and I were like talking to her, was mad at us. Like we were like, we've just got here. And then I spotted Lizzie making out with this guy. And when I tell you, I turned and was like, oh, for God's sake. Like I was so rude. Like, because I was so scared. We got like, so, and then it was like about like 4:45, like 5:30, that we eventually convinced Lizzie to go home and leave this guy behind. He followed us home until like, because like he was really sweet. He was like in love with Lizzie after like 5 minutes, and he was saying to like, I was walking with Lizzie, and Lizzie kept stopping me and being like, "Oh, I don't deserve you. You're my best friend," you know, drunk bullshit like that. And apparently, like 3 feet behind us, this guy's just like, "Oh, I think I love Lizzie. She's amazing." You don't know her, but all right. This was very funny. And apparently, this guy is currently on bail because he's been arrested for assault.
I love that.
And like apparently he has broken his wrist, so he can't fight anymore. And he was really upset that he couldn't start a fight for Lizzie. And I was like, chivalry's not dead. It was just wild. So we eventually, like, it took us an hour to get Lizzie home. I was in bed by 6:10, and I was so tempted to post something about that on Insta, but I was just like, this is a joke. Like, that is the latest I've ever been out. That is a joke. The latest before that was 4:00 in the morning, and that was just unfortunate timing. But yeah, what a joke. So so when I say Lizzie is a mess today, like Lizzie is downstairs hanging. I have no problem throwing them under the bus on a live show they should be on, because I'm the one that bullied them into chilling out, because I was like, they're not sentient. I'm like this because I woke up at like 9:45 because the cats needed feeding, and then had a shower and was like fine all day. And then I sat on my bed and was like, oh no.
Your brain
yeah, my brain was like, it's bedtime now, isn't it? It is dark outside.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I had a great time.
Good.
That's the most important.
But yes, so next month is spooky. So hopefully it won't be a story of Lizzie getting attacked by some.
Oh, that was what I was gonna say. Is like he basically, so the him following us home thing, he was really respectful because he kept being like, I'm not following you guys, but then would like continue to like walk with us. And we got to like the bottom of our road. Like Celine will know that we've got like a main road at the bottom, and then there's like a little side. Actually, Hannah, you will too. I mean, you're the only one who's not been round. Let's fix that in the new year, yeah. We got to the bottom of the road, and I decided I don't want him anywhere near our house. Like I don't want him to know where we live. So I just turned round and said, "Are you literally stalking us?" And he like held his hands up and just walked away. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Pixie. I did it all for you. But like genuinely so funny. Oh, and like there were a couple of dancers that were in the panto. They had like quite a few dancers that we thought were like 17-year-olds. Turns out they're 25. They just look great. Like they were in the bar and we were like, the hell I was so excited to see them. I was so excited to see them. They were great fun.
That's amazing.
I never have stories like that.
You've literally started the slideshow by saying you were a recluse, so
yeah, that's true. But like even through like anyone that I do interact with, it's all pretty tame.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, Hannah. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
The only good thing about stuff like that, because I have stories like that, is that you have the story. That's the only good part. Like,
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had a great time, but the reason I had the reason I knew I was going to have a great time anyway. One, I knew that we were celebrating something that was like really, really fun to be part of. It was people that with people that I hadn't hung out with outside of the panto before, and sorry, I think someone's trying to call me. And the other thing was, I knew that I wouldn't wake up with a hangover because I never do. So I was like drinking double vodkas and Smirnoff Ices and all sorts of like through like the Sambuca, Jaeger bombs. Woke up this morning, I was just tired.
Just having a bit of flex there.
That's fine. No hangover. And then you said Sambuca, and I went, nope.
Oh, that I just have to smell Sambuca and I want to throw up. Like I hate anesthesia so much.
It was really funny because we had the panto dinner today, so we went for a pub lunch, and Lizzie was like unwell, and everyone at the table was like really roasting them, and like Zach was like he's a little hungover, but it's more like a mild headache and tired because he and I sobered up pretty quickly when we couldn't find Lizzie. Like the walk back was like a drunken stumble, but it wasn't bad by any stretch. Like we would have been absolutely fine. I would have been fine by myself. Like I was quite happy to walk home by myself because it's such a short walk from where we were, and B, I was carrying so many bags that I was like, these are weapons now. Like I was not worried at all. But Zach was like, no, I'm walking home with you because like Lizzie and Sean were together and they were still in town, so it wasn't like he wasn't worried about them, and he was gonna go back for them anyway. But yeah, so we like walked back the speed with which we like made it back to where we needed to be, and I was like, oh, this area is dodgy. I can see why. But it's literally just it's the last club open, so Lizzie just wanted to stay out for as long as possible, and then today was like, hey, let's never do that again. But what was really, really funny, I've got a photo. I'm going to send it to you guys so that you can see it. Lizzie made out with this really, really good looking guy, really beautiful boy. And I tried to snag a photo, but it was very, very dark. And I saw that Lizzie caught me as I was taking it. So I ran away. So here's my masterpiece of a photo that I took.
Yeah, you did amazing. Like,
Thank you. Photography skills out the front door.
I feel like
Context, people. That's the photo.
10 out of 10 for sure.
like the thing is, I said to Lizzie, I was like, if you really squint, you can see the shorter blob is Lizzie.
There are two blobs. This is determinable, but that's it.
But I'm like, I feel like it's like a Monet. It makes more sense the further away from it you are.
It looks like the inside of the car.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to do that like bokeh effect.
So like when we met up with Sean earlier today, like when we were having lunch, she was like, oh my god, should I be a photo of this guy? And I was like, I've got the best photo. I'm like, I take photos for Instagram all the time. Like I really work hard to make sure my photos are good. What the fuck is that?
It's a work of art.
So anyway, but Lizzie will now also know that I've told this story on the internet because I sent it to the group
She
chat.
is in that chat, yes. I'm surprised we've not got like an angry react to that yet.
They're watching Doctor Who, so they're watching the Doctor Who episode from last night or this morning, or whatever.
Do not spoil it for me.
No. I had it spoiled on TikTok first thing. I'm not that fussed about watching it, but I was annoyed that it was on TikTok so quickly. And not only that TikTok put it right at the front of my For You page because I was like, I didn't need to know that. So I've actively not said anything to Lizzie or Zach because I know they actually care about it. But it's the only one that they're going to miss because they will not be there when it goes live. So it's the only one that was likely to get spoiled for them, and thankfully it hasn't been. But be careful out there because the spoilers are rife.
I've already had some, again, I won't say anything, obviously. I've already had some like really minor spoilers where it was like they've used basically the same clips that were being used for the stills that they put out before the show was released. And so my brain was like, oh, that's fine, and read more and was like, that is not fine. So they're really minor spoilers. But yeah, migrainous last night and then migrainous this morning on a lot of painkillers, which could explain everything that's happened this evening. I'm fine. I'm just hopped up and fucking high on ibuprofen.
But
so that means that we will be watching it tomorrow evening when we have dinner. But like, that's a long time in the year.
I remember when the like last like 3 seasons of Game of Thrones were coming out. It would be the first thing I watched in the morning because I had to watch it at breakfast because because it came out obviously the night before, but like randomly.
It was in America,
it'd be like super late. I'd watch it over breakfast because I was like, I am not risking.
Because it had to be
shows that I actually cared if I got spoilers.
It had to be late for the American audience. Like, they don't have the same thing as us, but like in the UK, you've got like the 9 p.m. watershed. Where you can say naughty things after 9, and you know the same concept applies in the US, even if they don't have the watershed. So it had to be late over there, so you didn't have kids.
I think it was like I think that's the thing. I think it was 9 Central Time, so it meant that it was like 3 in the morning.
Yeah, UK time. So yeah, it was, and I get why they released it at the same time because it's the internet, so people can watch it whenever they like. So if you're going to release it officially, release it at the same time everywhere, and then you'll get the most views. Like, that makes sense. But yeah, it was so like I remember going into school for some of them. I was still at school for part of it.
Oh, because I forget you're a baby.
I'm not even that young, but yeah. So I remember going into school and everyone just being like, "Don't fucking say anything." I had one of my teachers as we were flying into class. He was like, "If any of you say anything about Game of Thrones, you're in detention." He was like, I don't care if it's not spoilers. You're not speaking about it. Detention. So that's what the world is like with Game of Thrones. So yeah, I'm just avoiding everything.
That's fair. That's fair.
And hoping, because I'm terrified. The thing, like, I can avoid everything I want. The thing I think may actually happen is my old boss may send spoilers into the WhatsApp group chat. I still work at the same company. I've just been reallocated. And like, that's the thing where I'm like, that might be the spoiler. That might be where I get properly spoiled, is my old, and I will kill him. Samuel, watch out.
I've just realised, and I can't believe I've like not noticed this at all. I've just realised you've got the Palestinian flag behind you. I was like, that's been there the whole time, and I just wasn't paying attention to it because I'm a terrible person.
I bought it for it turned out to be a peace vigil. I wasn't entirely sure what it was going to be because I'd never been to anything like this, because I lived in not quite but fuck nowhere, but like far enough, and I only just got my driving license this month, concept of time, so I couldn't drive nowhere for none of these sorts of things, whereas I now live in a city centre. So yeah, I got this and I was like, oh, I can, like wear it like a little cape. No, it was not that vibe. It was pro-Palestine, but it was not wear a cape out of a flag vibe. It was like respectful in a church with like a bishop and an imam. And I live in York, so we had the Archduke.
Oh, fancy.
We had it was not wear a polyester flag around your neck vibes. It was like really respectful. So did not wear the flag, but wanted to display the flag, but also don't want the house to get egged. So I don't want to put it outside the house because children will do. So instead it is here, and so it now means that it is in the background of all of my videos and my TikToks and stuff, which actually works out surprisingly well.
Good. Right, well, I am going to bounce because as I had loads of energy to tell you the story of last night, and then I've crashed again, so I'm going to go to bed, I think.
You had your priorities, and we appreciate that.
But I just wanted to keep you informed, I know this is a public forum, and this is on Hannah's channel until they feel the need to delete it, but I felt like those of you here deserve to know.
Yes,
we do. It would have been a crime if we hadn't been informed. But yes, I feel like this is the end now, and I'm going to go and drink some mead.
I found a board game cafe. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I found a board game cafe in Wrexham yesterday that specialises in mead, and I'm obsessed. And
you are such a hobbit. You become more and more of a hobbit every year, and I love it for you. I like everything you do is so like. Can I say I went to see Hannah after Newcastle, and they took me to this pastry place that specializes in like croissant and other things like that, and the everything delicious, so damn tasty. But it was the most aesthetic place you've ever been in your life. And then I was like, I want to go to the bookshop because I know you've got like a little indie, and they had done their window for the Snow Girl by Sophie Anderson, and that was a vibe. And I was like, everything Hannah does is so aesthetic, and she's not even doing it on purpose. And I swear, like,
I've been there in real life, and I can tell you that.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was amazing. It was amazing. But I was like, I thought we were just going for coffee, and somehow we're having the like bougiest, most aesthetically pleasing, most delicious pastry ever. And I ruined it by having apple juice out of a bottle.
I love that place. I'm obsessed. But going back to Doctor Who as well, they had made a room at the TARDIS and did a watch along upstairs as well. Incredible. I haven't seen it because I didn't realize that was on, and we just played board games and drank a lot of mead. It was great. I'm definitely going back. I'm really excited about it.
So next month, spooky. I did this by poll. So if anyone else wants to do a poll, follow everyone on Twitter and Instagram. But everyone voted for The Haunting of Evelyn Jones, which I appreciate because it's short.
I'll give you guys options. You'll tell me which I should go for, I think.
I also wasn't too sure about, other than knowing this was spooky, but then being worried that it was a cop-out because it's short. I never know if I'm like, oh, I'm just going to make it too easy for myself and avoid books.
I don't think there is anything wrong about specifically because you have to come up with something for a prompt every month, picking short reads. How is that a cop-out? You're still reading books. And not only that, the prompts are designed to make you think about specific tropes and genres, which might be out of your comfort zone. So, no, not a cop-out.
I don't need to be attacked for my annoying overachieving perfectionism.
But also,
apparently you do, and you know for a fact that you would do the same to me. If I was like, oh, I'm going to reread Skullduggery Pleasant, it's not really spooky, but he's a skeleton detective, and I feel bad about it, you'd be like, shut up and read it.
Wait, was I supposed to read this one?
Do it. Read Skullduggery. Also, I just realized I'm wearing my Gothtober hoodie this entire time.
Yes, read Skullduggery. It's so easy to read.
It is not on my TBR, but I'll try.
It's like
a really quick read, and I don't mean that in a Count of Monte Cristo way.
We had to mention it.
At this point, we get fined if we don't, you know?
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, I really enjoyed the way Abby and Olivia have come for me for my having not read as many classics as I thought I had. Lie. And to be fair, with Count of Monte Cristo, I never said that I finished that one.
Right. Stop digging. With Skullduggery Pleasant, it's like 300 pages long, and if you read 100 pages an hour, because it's a middle grade and the writing's big, you will finish it in like 2 hours. So obviously scale that for yourself with how many words you normally read. But also, is that the Count of Monte Cristo?
Yeah. I still need to, like, and I was enjoying it. I just put it down and never picked it up. But I was enjoying it.
Do what I do.
I was annotating.
Do what I do to myself and set one chapter every day.
Dude, I said yes to Buddy War and Peace starting January 1st.
Yeah, that's what I did for War and Peace.
Why do I do that to myself? I have no fucking clue. But I said yes.
I had the same opinion, but it worked out well.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll try. I do want to finish it next year.
But yes, so do we know when we're doing the live next month? Because obviously
we haven't decided. I don't think
we had a poll. I'm gonna have a look at the poll now, and then we'll let
28th or 29th.
We'll let the few people that are still here have a say. I think.
Yeah, we got sidetracked, but if Pixie's here still, good night. I don't know if you want to stick around for the poll.
The top 2 dates were Friday the 29th and Saturday the 30th.
I should not be in York for that.
I would rather do the Friday, to be honest, because at least it gives me time before New Year's Eve, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be doing a live show on New Year's Eve because Zach and Lizzie are working, so I'm in the house by myself.
I'll spend it with you if you want.
Yeah, let's do like, I feel like I want to do like reading sprints, but also like a quiz of stuff that's happened over the year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love
At the end of the year, like, you know, they do like a big fat quiz of the year thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Are you all three in? Yeah.
I can't commit to anything yet because I don't know what's happening. But if I'm free,
You'll
yes.
be social, Hannah. I know you will. That's
I don't think I have anything. I haven't said yes to anything yet, so I probably won't do anything. So I'll be there.
Yay.
There's like a 70-30 chance. 70 that I will be at home. Just me and Chris, just chilling. So then that would just be a case of if me and him make plans to like do a thing together, then no. But then also there is a chance that like we might go around to one of his friends' house. We went to the Minster last New Year. We went out, we walked there just before, and then we had the bells tolling, which was great fun because while we were waiting for it, obviously everyone queues up, like stand outside like 5, 10, 20 minutes beforehand, and the bell ringers are just up in the tower. So they were just there going, ah, and waving, sticking their hands out these tiny windows that were built in like the 1500s, just going out the windows. Great fun.
Love that.
So I don't know what we
that's
planned, but maybe.
Yeah, so that's the plan. Are you guys happy with Friday?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah,
and then
I should
Celine,
be. I will probably have to confirm.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm still in the
going
home
to tell
of
Lizzie
people
that's
to
when the live
send.
show is. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for coming.
I will see you soon.
Yes. Shall we wrap up in general and just all disappear? Because I think we've run out of things to say
I'll
anyway.
Okay,
I think that's what we're is.
Yes. So thank you very much, all. I have no idea who's left because a couple of you said bye already. But yeah, it's been a pleasure. We all seem to be on the same wavelength with our reading, apparently. And I can't wait to see what you think of Aveline. So I'm excited about next month. It's one of my favourites, so I'm very excited about that. But yeah, thank you very much. And I guess keep an eye on socials for what is the date. Hopefully Friday. What was it again? Was it the 29th? I've forgotten what date it was, but the Friday.
The Friday.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
I can't find the button.